everyone, and welcome back to Casual Climbers, the podcast by and for beginning hikers and those who may not quite be physically ready to tackle the Appalachian Trail. I'm your host, Donna Padrick, and alongside me is my husband and adventure buddy, Roy.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Roy.
So in this podcast, we try to provide you with information, tips, and tricks on how to get into hiking in the Blue Ridge area. We will cover some of the hundreds of trails in the various parks and areas of the region and hopefully entertain you a little bit along the way.
Mm-hmm.
We're two middle-aged, not in the very best shape hikers.
100% not in the best shape.
But we do love the outdoors and we want to share our experiences with you. In this week's episode, Donna, we discuss a nice waterfall trail along the Blue Ridge Parkway, the Graveyard Fields Loop Trail. We'll also have a fun fact segment about the nearby Pisgah Astronomical Research Institute, and Donna will review her favorite hiking boots, the Keen's Pyrenees. What do you say, Donna? Let's get into it.
Let's go.
So here's the Graveyard Fields Loop Trail by the numbers. The trail itself, at least the route that we took, is 3.31 miles a loop. But the reason it's that long is because there's two spurs that come off of it. The Graveyard Fields Loop itself is only 1.3 miles. But the Upper Falls Spur, which will take you to the Upper Falls, is 2 miles there and back. So 1 mile up, 1 mile back. The time it took us was 2 hours and 47 minutes. Of that, an hour and 32 minutes was actual moving time. The lowest point was 4,900 feet, and the highest point was 5,150 feet. So you can see it's only a 250-foot elevation change, but it felt like more on the Upper Falls Spur.
Mm-hmm.
And the friendliness of this trail, it was not friendly at all. It was rocky and rooty throughout, many stream crossings, sometimes 10, 20 feet wide, sometimes a few inches deep. And it was very, very muddy, wet, and mucky in a lot of places.
Yes. Now, are you adding in the lower falls that we did at the beginning?
The distance includes it, but the Lower Falls Spur is 0.15 miles. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very short.
Right. So, listeners, if you want to just go to the lower falls, which is way less effort and really a beautiful...
It's a much better falls. It's a much better falls than the Upper Falls.
Yeah, and just not work at all really to get there. I mean, there's stairs that you go down and
70 steps. There is 70 steps getting from the trail down to the bottom of the waterfall.
Right. So getting back up those steps, well, getting down or up those steps for some people with mobility issues could be, but there's some little landings, and there was one bench at one of the landings. Right. That's the only bench I saw all day yesterday.
On the entire area, yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
There's some at the parking area, so I should start by saying this. The trailhead is at the Graveyard Fields Overlook right on the Blue Ridge Parkway at milepost 218. Now, if you're driving the Blue Ridge Parkway, which Donna and I try to do every chance we get,
right?
It's spectacular. The Blue Ridge Parkway is, I think, one of America's most incredible national treasures.
Right.
So any chance we get on the Blue Ridge Parkway, we jump at it. And so the Graveyards Field Overlook, and you'll see all the photos on our photos page of our website, which is casualclimbers.podbean.com. There you'll also see the trail map, and you'll see what we're talking about. It's kind of hard to describe verbally, but once you look at the map, you'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I see the loop, and then there's this long trail that spurs off of it. But so that's where it starts, there at the overview. There are bathrooms and benches.
Yeah,
there at the parking area.
Those bathrooms that were glorified porta potty kind of bathrooms. They're not
full running water. There's no sinks to wash your hands.
You can't flush the toilets. It's just
But it's a place to go.
It is a place
covered in private and
yeah.
And I found it to be pretty clean.
Did you?
As far as porta potty bathrooms go, yeah.
I mean, the one I went in wasn't. There was flies in there, and yeah. So I picked the dud one, I guess. But but there was toilet paper, and so
If you have to go,
If you have
it's
to
better
go.
than not having anything there, like some of the trails that we
Yeah.
go on.
I don't wear a mask. Like, you know how we got used to wearing masks through COVID, but if I had a mask to wear in that bathroom,
Would put it on.
yeah.
I mean, since it is basically a
Mm,
permanent porta potty situation,
yeah.
it doesn't smell great in
Uh-uh.
there. But again,
But yeah,
if you have to go,
if you have to go,
it's
it's
way
there.
better than nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the loop itself, let's start by talking about Graveyard Fields Loop. We should probably tell people why it's called Graveyard Fields. So they're not 100% certain what happened. But sometime in the 1800s, it was either a storm or a fire that happened. But a lot of the trees, like a big section of this forest, was just
Decimated.
torn up.
Yeah.
And so there were tree stumps that were left.
Mm-hmm.
And they started growing moss and lichen. And so they looked like tombstones.
Right.
And it was like this for many, many years. The forest has now completely recovered. It's fully grown. There's no signs of any tree stumps or anything there.
Yeah, the name is kind of now, today, feels like a misnomer.
It does feel like a misnomer. It's beautiful, lush and green down there. Yeah.
I mean, there's some open areas, but not like the stories for how that place got its name.
Right. So the loop itself is fairly simple, honestly. I found the loop to be the easiest part. It's still rocky, rooty, and muddy, but
there's a few little boardwalk areas.
Yeah, a number of boardwalk areas that wind through. And we should say this too. We saw a lot of rotten and torn up boards on some of these boardwalks. You can tell they're very old. And
I think the Park Service is trying to keep up with replacing boards because there's some new boards.
We saw some new boards, yeah, but there were still a lot of broken ones.
Yes.
A lot of broken ones. So just be careful when you're walking on these, guys. What I like to do is I'll either, if the walkway has a center seam board, in addition to the two side boards that are part of the frame, I'll walk either in the center, and you can tell because there'll be nails in the middle. So basically try to walk along the line where the nails are because that's extra supported.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I typically try to do. But there were a lot. There were a lot of these areas going over marshes, going over streams. And it was busy yesterday.
Yeah,
there was a ton of people on the trail.
No, when we get up early and try and get on the trail early, and when we first got there, it wasn't
9:40 when we got there.
Okay, it wasn't too crazy busy, but as the day progressed, I was kind of surprised at how busy it got.
I was too, honestly, but I guess it's a lot of people driving the parkway, stopping.
And this is Memorial Day weekend. It was a Friday, so we try and go on Friday, not Saturday or Sunday, just because those days are more popular.
Yeah,
but it's Memorial Day weekend, so I'm guessing a lot of people are trying to take this weekend and get a good jump,
Get out, get out, yeah. So the Lower Falls Spur, let's just talk about this and get this one out of the way, is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very short spur. You navigate the 70 steps, and it's not all in one line. They're they're
it winds
pieces,
around. Yes, it feels like I don't remember any roots or rocks having to climb over anything or really any mud to step in or anything like that.
Not in that area.
Yeah,
no,
that was definitely the easy, check this off our list of things to do. And it was great.
I mean, if you're driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway and you want a quick get out, stretch your legs, see a waterfall.
Yeah.
It would take you, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe from the parking area to the Lower Falls waterfall.
In fact, last October when we did drive the Blue Ridge Parkway, we stopped not knowing really anything about this.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped in that parking area and
we went down to when you go down to the main area, it's beautiful because there's rhododendron thickets that you walk through in the first part of the trail.
It's kind of magical.
It's gorgeous. And rhododendrons are starting to come out now up there. So it was really nice. But then it takes you out to this big area where the river.
That's where you filled up your water bladder.
It is, yeah. Where the river's coming down from the upper falls and getting ready to hit the lower falls. And it's moving. That water is moving.
Yeah.
And there's a boardwalk that goes over the river, so you don't have to worry about that. But
once you go over the boardwalk, it winds around to the right.
To get to Lower Falls.
To Lower Falls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a short walk, like 5 minutes. It's not bad.
You'll get to those stairs. The stairs looked a little intimidating to me because they're pretty steep, actually.
Yeah, they are steep.
But it was no problem getting down and getting
No,
back up.
we got down and up without any issue.
Yeah.
And it's, man, that waterfall view down there is so nice.
It really
It's
is.
so nice.
You
So-
can climb over rocks down there and get, closer to the water.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can get down in the water. Unlike, I think, upper falls where you don't get close at all. Yeah, you can down in the lower falls. You can definitely get in there.
Yeah.
So then we come back up and we continue our way along the loop. And so this is when it starts getting muddy, mucky,
Rocks and Rudy.
rocks and Rudy. And so as it goes through, about halfway through the loop, the spur going to Upper Falls is there, and it's marked there.
Right.
That is basically the last time you will get any trail markings all the way up to the
For
top.
upper falls. Yes. So
This is a big thing that if you're going to do the Upper Falls loop,
do commute or
do Komoot or All Trails, bring an app because
and download the trail before you get out there and don't have internet access.
Because you will get lost.
Yes. There were lots and lots of people on the trail that when we were coming back as the trail
which way to go? Which
yes.
way to go? And I had to stop probably, gosh, what would you say?
Oh.
Every 100 feet to look, because it's really hard to describe this. But as you get onto the Upper Falls spur, the trail becomes much, much, much less wide. It's very primitive. And then there's like little forks and trails that go off to the left and to the right. And there's no markings at all. There's no trailblazes. We saw laminated paper in two spots.
Yes.
That said Upper Falls this way, but that was only in two spots. I had to stop. We backtracked a few times.
Well, I think one of the signs said, "This is not the way," because it looked like it was the way.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of people thought that's the way.
Enough to have to put a piece of paper down.
Yeah, but it really should be more than I don't even know if it was laminated piece of paper. I think it was a piece of paper that was in like a plastic sleeve.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, I didn't look too close with the rock.
With a rock holding it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for as popular as this was, and we saw a ton of people on the Upper Falls spur. It is tremendously difficult to navigate. We would 100% have gotten lost if we didn't have the app.
Yeah.
100%. Because there were several times where I was going off and my app said,
"Turn around.
You may have missed the turning. Please check your map." And I was like, oh, what? This clearly looked like this was the way to go.
Yeah, because sometimes the path looks more wide, more worn, more traveled.
Yeah.
It was really funny because your app one time told us to make a U-turn when we could.
Yeah.
We're walking. We could literally make a U-turn anytime.
It was crazy. It was really, really nuts. And then it just got so muddy, and some of the mud was deep in portions.
Yes.
Your foot went down in
goodness.
in a hole. And thankfully you had your Keens on, which you're going to talk about in your review.
Yes.
And my foot went down in several spots into the mud. And
another reason to bring at least one hiking pole and test mud when you see it. Test to see how far down it goes. That was a lesson learned for yesterday.
We both brought poles. You had one, and I had one in my hand and then one attached to my backpack. And once we got up toward the end of Upper Falls and it started climbing, I really needed it there. And that, man, if the trail was not marked well below, once you start your climb up to the falls, it's even less marked.
Right.
There were several spots where it honestly feels like you're just climbing over rocks that nobody's ever been on.
Right.
It's just completely no trail. There's no trail. There's no walking area.
Well, and there's these little skinny little paths that you can tell that you can, because you can kind of hear the water off to your left. And there's these little trails that are off to the water. I think that people have made because we didn't take those little trails because you had your app and we knew which way we were supposed to go. But I'm guessing that there may be little areas where you can put your feet in the water or whatever.
Yeah. So there was that one spot. So we got up to where the app took us, and that took us to the top of the falls. And we get there and I'm like, this is very underwhelming. Because it's not like a waterfall like you'd think a traditional waterfall.
It's absolutely not like Rainbow Falls or Cascading Falls.
Pinnacle Mountain Falls.
Oh,
Anything
yeah.
like that. Yeah. It's just kind of moves quickly down a sloped rock.
Right.
I mean, it's impressive. It's nice, but it's not like the waterfalls at Lower Falls on this same trail. It's not
Right.
like that at all.
But sometimes when you get so high that you're almost like above or you're at the top of the waterfall, sometimes that's not the best view of the waterfall. So we looked down and we saw some people down below us at Upper Falls.
Yep.
And so we climbed down to where they were and we got a better view.
It was a better view. Still not great.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was very challenging. I was sweating
Oh, yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
from just on that Upper Falls spurs, really mainly starting at the point where you started climbing. I was huffing and puffing.
Yeah, we were pretty gross at the end. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why we went into the bathroom is to change our shirts.
Change, yeah. and I will say this, listeners. In my opinion, the Upper Falls is not worth it. It's not a spectacular view. The trail is exceptionally difficult, not only to navigate, but to find.
I was so amazed when I saw like this man with his little kid, maybe a 4-year-old little kid up there.
Yeah, he was not happy either. That little kid was complaining the whole time.
Well, he had a Captain America t-shirt on, and I was like, you go, you being a little Captain America.
Yeah,
And we saw several dogs,
we did.
but dogs
Dogs
are
can get anything. I mean,
Yeah.
they're animals. Yeah.
absolutely no Chihuahuas or little dogs or anything like that. We saw, Aussies and like bigger dogs.
Bigger dogs. Yeah. I mean, small dogs could probably get through it.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know.
You'd be picking up that little dog to get
Probably.
over some of those
Yeah,
boulders.
probably.
In which case, you need to be hanging on to something as you're getting over those boulders yourself if you're an unfit hiker.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. What surprised me the most, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised since it's, a trail right off the Blue Ridge Parkway,
Mm-hmm.
the number of people that were taking the Upper Falls spur that had white shoes on
or sandals.
and
Oh my goodness.
there was one lady who was doing her and this was very early on in the spur. It only got worse from there.
I heard you say that it
She was tiptoeing around on rocks to get over this one spot of a stream, which was not by any stretch of the imagination one of the dirtier, wetter, or more challenging areas. And she had these white Nikes on, and I was like, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. I can't. My Merrill hiking shoes and your Keens were filthy.
Yeah.
When we left this, I can't imagine white shoes coming out of there unscathed.
Unless you just stop and say nope and turn around and go back.
You'd have to stop really early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, though, I didn't like the Upper Falls spur.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like how primitive the trail itself was.
Yeah. There was these moments where you feel like the brush, the greenery on either side of you is brushing your shoulders. It's like a deer trail
It feels very much like a deer trail.
Like you have
if you take the right one.
Right.
Lord knows you could go off and be lost in the mountains forever.
Yeah. Oh, and there's signs too about bears. Yes. And I actually read after the fact that they have a lot of white-tailed deer. So there's a lot of berry bushes.
Oh,
on
thank you
this
for bringing that
trail.
up. Yeah.
And when the berries are in season, that's when you're going to encounter more wildlife on this trail.
We saw more blackberries.
The
Blackberry
bushes.
plants.
Yes.
Yeah, that were flowering.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have blackberries soon.
Right.
On this trail than we have on any trail up to this point that we've done.
I read that there was blackberries, blueberries, and oh my gosh, there was like a third berry.
Yeah.
I can't remember
I
what
don't
it
remember
was.
Which one? We saw
Gooseberries?
both.
Something I don't know.
Maybe. We saw both blueberry bushes and
Blackberry.
blackberry bushes. A ton of blackberry bushes.
Yeah.
Man, and I'd say in a month, let's go back with an empty backpack. We're going to be picking.
I don't know. I don't know because that's when you're going to run into the bears, right?
Maybe. Yeah, I think they tend to stay away. As busy as that trail is,
Well,
but then again, as busy as it is, people are going to be picking as they go
Oh,
along.
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, overall, I would not do the Upper Falls again. Challenging, difficult to find where you're going, almost impossible if you don't have the app or people telling you.
Right.
Mucky, muddy, the scramble up the rocks to get to the top of the waterfall, and then, in my opinion, a very meh waterfall, a very disappointing one. I was like, I can't believe we just spent like the hour and 32 minutes that we were in motion. An hour of that was on the spur. We spent an hour, and a lot of that was stopping and catching our breath.
And I would say
Wasn't worth it.
too, I would say that the Graveyard Fields loop was also, I mean, I'm glad I did it once, but it was also underwhelming to
Yeah.
me. The best part of the whole day was the lower falls.
Yeah, which you can get to in 15 minutes max.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree. If we drive the Blue Ridge Parkway again in fall, which I hope we do,
Mhm.
that'll be a stop.
Yeah.
We'll just
To
stop
go
there
to the
and
lower falls
stretch it. Yep, and that's it.
and maybe have lunch or something.
Right. So we kind of have to break down the difficulty into the two different areas, the Graveyard Fields loop itself and then the Upper Falls Spur. How would you rate the difficulty of the Graveyard Fields loop itself? Break a sweat?
The
feel
Graveyard
burn?
Fields loop itself was not
You think it was a
difficult.
piece of cake?
Yeah, I don't feel like there was elevation change. There was some roots, some rocks, some mud, but there was also some boardwalk and not a lot of elevation change, if any.
I think overall it probably was a piece of cake.
Yeah, that would be just a
The loop-
walk.
The loop itself was probably a piece of cake. I still would do it with hiking shoes and or tennis shoes that you're not afraid to get dirty.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get them mucky and muddy.
Yeah, if you get tennis shoes to wear on this hike, just make sure that they're mud colored.
Yeah. Very good. But then the Upper Falls loop, I think easily break a sweat,
Maybe feel the burn.
maybe feel the burn just because of
Just,
how challenging it was to scramble up the rocks.
But yeah, I'm always amazed because I was second guessing myself. I was sweating. I was having difficulty. And then I see that kid and I'm like, am I just a wuss? What's
Yeah,
going on here?
Like I told you yesterday, that kid is 5 years old.
Yeah,
We have almost 50 years on him. So
I definitely.
let him get to where he's got 50 years of life beaten down on him and see if he does as well as we do.
Huh?
out
Maybe.
there in the trail.
I hope he does. I hope he does
I
better.
hope he does too.
Yeah.
All right, good. So now we're going to talk about the Astronomical Research Institute.
So, Roy, you know how there's a Roswell, New Mexico?
Yep.
Well, in North
Love
Carolina.
that place.
Yeah.
I want to go there one day.
Yeah, I do too. So in North Carolina, there is a Rosman, North Carolina. And there's this place called the Pisgah Astronomical Research Institute, or PARI for short. P-A-R-I. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's this nonprofit astronomical observatory located in the Pisgah National Forest.
Not far from where we were.
Not far from where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Perry is there to inspire everyone, from students to scientists, to discover their next big thing.
What about alien people? Because I want to go and ask if they've seen aliens.
I absolutely kind of want to. I looked up, if they have access to information about aliens, it's not available on the internet, but maybe if we talk to them, like in person, we might get more.
Ask, hey, what kind of crazy stuff have you seen up there?
I will say that, you know how I like to chase rabbit holes? I stopped myself from chasing a rabbit hole.
Did you?
I did.
love your rabbit holes, though. They're fun.
They are fun, but I did look up, and there are a lot of UFOs and alien encounter kind of things in the mountains of North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like on our Blue Ridge Parkway drive, the guy talks about there were some mountains, like Black Mountain, I think is one of them,
Yeah.
where there's tons of UFO sightings.
Yeah.
Tons of them. Yeah.
Right off the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yeah.
So the Perry, the Pisgah Astronomical Research Institute, they specialize in STEM education, and they offer space camps and learning experience for educators and students at all levels.
So for those of you who don't know, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. So they're all about enabling new discoveries and exploration in the field of astronomy and space science.
Nice.
Yeah. They operate multiple radio telescopes and so they operate multiple radio telescopes and optical telescopes for research and teaching.
Okay.
So they're pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, I love educational things.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I.
So they're there to encourage enthusiasm, confidence, and problem-solving skills during their space camps. But you don't have to go to their space camp. You can just go visit. But you do have to contact them and make an appointment to visit.
I'm guessing it's probably not manned all the time, right?
Because it's a nonprofit.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
But the facility, it used to be a NASA facility. It used to be called the Rosman Satellite Tracking Station, and it was originally established in 1962.
Wow.
Yeah. It was part of the worldwide spacecraft tracking and data acquisition network. And it was an important communications link for the Gemini and Apollo space programs.
Wow.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yes.
Roots in the space race right here.
Uh-huh. Right in the Pisgah National Forest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the facility got transferred to the National Security Agency, the NSA, in 1981.
Uh-oh. Became a spy system.
The name changed to Rosman Research Station. I think that's when, the aliens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, that's, anytime you have a secret government organization like NSA take over something, people start to think the worst.
Or the best. I mean, what if they're nice aliens, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I choose to believe that. So regardless of where you sit on whether or not aliens exist or have visited Earth, listeners, it's hard to refute, given the vastness of the universe and the quadrillions of planets there are, that even a fraction of them, a tiny fraction, are capable of supporting life. It's hard to believe that there isn't other species out there, right? Whether or not they've come to Earth, I don't know, but I'm pretty certain that they exist out there. And it also stands to reason that they would, at least some of them would be advanced enough to have interstellar travel. And so if they have interstellar travel, they have the capability of massive military capabilities. I'm sure if they have interstellar travel, they have at least nuclear or even bigger weapons. So the fact that we haven't been attacked probably means that if aliens have visited, they're not hostile.
Right. They're nice. Yeah. And maybe they're even related to Bigfoot.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe Bigfoot is an alien.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after some years of this Rosman Research Station, nothing was going on there. The government, they wanted to dismantle the facility. So this small group of scientists and businessmen formed a not-for-profit foundation that acquired the site in 1999. So that's when it became this observatory, and it has a staff of astronomers and engineers and other scientists, professional people that just for the love of the craft, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing if it was in the NSA in the 70s and 80s, if it was part of the NSA, they were probably tracking Russians and the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It got transferred to the NSA in 1981. So,
81. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. That was still Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So on Christmas Eve of 2024, wait, no, not 2024.
That's this year.
Yeah. Christmas Eve of, I'll have to look up the date again because I wrote the date down wrong, but Christmas Eve, it might've been 2022. I don't know. I don't know when it was. Christmas Eve sometime. A couple of guys who were up to no good
started making trouble in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm, broke into the institute.
Oh,
it's collection of about 100 meteorites valued at least $80,000, and with specimens weighing up to 80 pounds, that was stolen.
That's awful.
Yeah, along with about $100,000 worth of TVs, monitors, projectors, microscopes, and other scientific equipment. Yeah, but
people gonna people.
Yeah. Ugh. Why though? But why?
That's a good question. But why though?
Yeah.
I mean, beyond the monetary value of the meteorites.
Why?
If you're a kid and you want to see something that was in space, this was a perfect place for you to go for free. To look at something that was in space, and you got some a-hole taking it.
Well, thankfully, you can. So much of the stolen property, including the meteorite collection, was recovered within a week.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So happy ending there. Although it said much of, I kind of wonder,
Some got stolen. I mean, some got hidden away.
rehoused, I guess, somewhere. I don't know. So Perry hosts research and study programs with Furman University, Clemson University, Virginia Tech, South Carolina State University, and Duke University. The Perry site has hosted several professional astronomy meetings, including the Small Radio Telescope Conference in August 2001, the Gamma Ray Burst Today and Tomorrow Conference in August 2002, which I didn't know that there was a Gamma Ray Burst Today and Tomorrow Conference. Is that like I want to picture the Incredible Hulk going to that.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. It was just a gamma ray
burst.
burst from the sun. Yeah.
Yeah. And the workshop on a national plan for preserving astronomical photographic plates was hosted in November 2007. So these photographic plates, I think that they were how we used to collect information, store information.
That's how they actually recorded the photograph, was on these plates, because film would burn up.
Okay.
So they had to use these plates.
I didn't fully understand that. These plates were the primary recording medium for astronomy data from the late 19th century until the 1980s. It's estimated that over 2 million of the plates are held in astronomy facilities around the world and are in jeopardy of being destroyed because of a lack of storage facilities.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's...
I wonder if they could transfer the data
information
from the plates.
I know. Like how we used to take a VCR tape and make it into a DVD.
Yeah. Or, an MP4 or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder. Or hopefully they are.
I would think that they would be digitizing that stuff, but you still want the historical significance of these plates is important. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many of these plates exist, but yeah. If there's a storage issue, then I'm sure it's a lot.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So Perry also hosts several educational opportunities, including the Duke University Talent Identification Program. So they're looking for people that...
Science talent, I'm guessing. Okay.
Yeah. And they sponsor astronomy educational programs using the portable star lab planetarium.
Planetarium.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
So how do people get to get a tour of this place? How do they get there?
Okay, so the address is 1 Perry Drive, Pari Drive, Rosman, North Carolina, 28772, and the phone number is 828-862-5554. You can also contact them through email at info@perry.edu. So
okay, so you can call or email and ask for an appointment and then go check it out. We're gonna have to do that.
They actually have a calendar too online that you can look at.
Oh, nice, on their website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the principal radio research instruments at Perry are two 26-meter radio telescopes and a 4.6-meter radio telescope named Smiley. And I've got a little picture.
Oh, that's
Smiley.
funny. They have this big radio telescope with a smiling face on it. That's pretty great.
So
these are massive telescopes, people. You should check out the website and look at it.
Oh yeah, Smiley was given its face around 1982 as a greeting to overflying foreign surveillance satellites.
Oh, that's funny. So the government put it on there.
Yeah.
Just to say we
hi.
know you're looking, guys.
What's
that's
up?
very funny.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think the NSA would have a sense of humor, but
somebody
did. Yeah.
Somebody with the power to make a smiley face on a
right.
on a satellite.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Donna. That was a good fun fact.
Yeah. So today I'm going to review my Keen Pyrenees waterproof hiking boots for ladies.
You love those boots.
I love these boots.
And they look good. You look cute in them. I'll put that out there.
Thank you. That matters. That is a factor. It may not be the biggest factor when you're traipsing through mud and hiking in the mountains, but it is a factor.
Is it a factor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So these boots, I bought them in 2022 and they've been amazing. I wore them in the snow and ice in Colorado that winter, and they're non-slip ability on ice was wonderful.
You've never slipped on a trail when you've worn these?
I think
on any rock?
very, very slightly slipped on a rock yesterday just because a boulder. It was a boulder around the waterfall. Just a little bit. And I think that was just gravity pulling me down. And I don't know if there is anything I could have been wearing that I just slid just a tiny bit. But
I see you in these things and you mountain goat all around.
I do mountain goat on them. Yeah. So out here hiking in North Carolina, it's been rainy and a lot of these trails are full of mud and you can't always tell how deep the mud is, which is another reason to bring your hiking pole.
Was the case yesterday.
Yeah. So the mud yesterday, it was the real deal. Not to mention water levels that on the streams that you're crossing are pretty high.
Yeah, there was several streams that we crossed that you had to step in the water.
Yeah,
and it was 2-3 inches deep.
You could kind of tell what rock you're supposed to step on, but I don't know.
It's underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these boots are waterproof and mudproof, and they're comfy. So they have been put through the ringer. They have been tested and tested and tested.
And they still hold up. I don't see any signs of wear on them.
Yeah.
You've put miles and miles and miles on these things.
I really have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm becoming more and more serious about minimalism. And these boots are my keepers, which says a lot.
Okay.
So I'm really trying not to own stuff that I don't use. Not to just store stuff. But these are something that, even for a minimalist, they're amazing.
You typically grab these over your hiking shoes. You have Merrell hiking shoes, which is the brand that I like to wear. And you grab these over there. Why do you grab these over your hiking shoes?
So I wore my hiking shoes are waterproof too. And I wore them last week.
Mm-hmm.
But the hiking shoes, stepping in water,
it'll go over.
Yeah.
It'll go right over the lip.
Yeah. So, and it did a little bit last week.
Yeah, me too.
So, so the boots are I can see why, even in the summer, even when it's hot, I can see why people would choose to wear hiking boots. And you just kind of slouch your hiking socks down and wear shorts with them. And then they're really cute.
Yeah. No, you look great in them. Now, these boots go just above the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
How are they for ankle support?
They were good. I was afraid that I wouldn't have that range of motion with my ankle, but I just didn't tie the laces as tight as I possibly could have. And so I got a little bit of support for my ankle, but I also was able to move to climb and do all the stuff.
So you got a little bit of freedom of movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I had zero problem with them. I will say that they come with 2 sets of shoelaces. And whenever I've seen them advertised, I always see them advertised with the lavender laces, which I really love the look of that. But I've never worn the lavender laces with my shoes because I like to match and I don't own anything else that's lavender. But I think that
if you have a lavender, purple, whatever outfit or, pastels,
they're kind of pinkish lavender.
Yeah, we typically wear earthy stuff.
Exactly.
Earthy colors. I wear my blue hiking pants almost every single time.
Mm-hmm.
But you typically wear
I
greens
like to wear
and browns. Yeah.
And navy blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's just not one of my colors that I reach for. But, one of these days, maybe I'll be all risque and have my shoelaces not match with the rest of my outfit.
I would caution you against that because if your shoelaces don't match the rest of your outfit, the earth might crumble on itself.
Well, just a few mud puddles and these beautiful lavender laces.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
Might not be so pretty lavender, but so the other color of laces that come with these boots, the color is called safari, which is kind
brown.
of brown. Like light brown.
I don't know why that. Just call it brown.
I mean,
it's safari. Safari's not even a color.
It's their ladies' boots. I guess you've got to be fancy with the color names. So
I don't know.
Safari and I think, what is it? What is the lavender color even called?
Is it not called lavender?
Is
it some other nonsense name?
It's called lavender, but it's like English garden lavender or something like that.
Oh God. All right. Just call it purple. It's light purple. Okay, so you can buy these pretty much anywhere, but you found what
Yes.
you think is the best deal.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Bass Pro Shop. Bass Pro Shop has them for $126.98 down
Which is significantly cheaper than what you paid for.
Yeah, that's yes, because they're about $170 normally. And what I think is amazing is that these are still on the market. These particular boots this way.
Yeah, shoes typically have a year-long life cycle before they move on to the next model.
Latest greatest thing.
Yeah.
And Keen's the company, they have a lot of hiking boots, hiking gear, hiking shoes, hiking blah 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 blah. But they've kept this model.
That says something. If it's got staying power,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you love them.
Yeah.
And they do look great. So, yeah. So check out Bass Pro Shops. Of course, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them at REI. You can get them at the Keen website directly.
Yeah, sure.
But for Donna's tip of the day, if you're looking for Keen Pyrenees hiking boots, go to Bass Pro Shops online.
Mhm.
You can get them there.
They probably have a men's version of this too.
I would think so, probably. I mean, honestly, though, they don't look girly at all. So if I wore them, I don't think anybody would give me a second look.
Unless they had the lavender laces in them.
I'm going to put the lavender laces when I go on.
You're going to get a
because
second
I
look.
want to be a pretty hiker as I'm sweating through the
I
woods.
might have to get a lavender shirt, a lavender hiking shirt.
Oh, and try them out? Yeah.
I don't
Okay, well, great. So Keen Pyrenees, you'd recommend them?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So that's the show this week, folks. We talked about the Graveyard Fields Loop Trail with the Upper Falls Spur. Don't recommend it. We also talked about the Pisgah Astronomical Research Institute,
Harry?
PARI, and Donna reviewed her favorite hiking boots, the Keen Pyrenees, which you can get pretty much anywhere, but she gave you a really good tip to get them at Bass Pro Shops for about
Unless you can-
$50 off.
Unless you can find them at a better price.
Yeah. I'm sure you can find them at, retail stores too, REI, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So overall, Donna, would you recommend the
The
Graveyard?
lower falls.
Okay. I
I'd
would also
recommend-
recommend the Graveyard Field Loop Trail to the lower falls and back up. Don't do the whole loop. And certainly, I don't think that the Upper Falls Spur is worth the
But
effort.
stop at the parking lot and just go down. Even if you just go down and back.
Oh, just to the first place where the water crosses?
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing. Absolutely.
Just a little walk through.
yeah.
a
If you're going to do
magical-
that, go the extra 5 minutes to the lower falls. It's not that bad. But yeah, I'm with you.
Unless you don't feel like walking up 70 stairs. Because once you walk down, you got to walk back
That's
up.
fair. That's fair. I'd recommend it. Just that part. I really wouldn't recommend going Upper Falls. Besides being just incredibly difficult to navigate, it's underwhelming for waterfalls. But the view from the overlook itself at the top where the parking lot is gorgeous.
Mhm.
So you will never hear me not recommend the Blue Ridge Parkway. That I will always recommend it. So if you're in that area, milepost 418, Graveyard Fields Overlook, and the trailhead starts right there. There's permanent porta potties there
Mhm.
as a bathroom, but there's 3 of them, and if you got to go, you got to. It's a good place to go.
Good-ish place to go. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to us in whatever podcast app you use and be sure to leave us a review. That's how our show grows. Feel free to check out our trail photos at casualclimbers.podbean.com. And if you have a question, comment, or just want to drop us a line, you can reach us at casualclimberspodcast@gmail.com. We will see you out on the trails.
Okay, so that's the show. But Donna, before we cut out,
Mm-hmm.
we have to make an appointment to go to Perry.
Yes.
So that we can see what kind of UFO evidence they have there.
I want to go to the planetarium.
Yeah.
And I want to see Smiley.
Yeah. See Smiley, the smiling radio telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty great. I'm sure he's got some stories about UFOs too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the trail.